What's good, YouTube? And welcome back, the eternal rivals here on Market Watch. Dragon Maid's getting a buyout here in the year 2024, specifically Laundry Dragon Maid, and this isn't because of the OCG Twitter good stuff, those webcomics where she's going across the Yu-Gi-Oh universe doing really cool stuff. It's not because of some Dragon Link tech, it's actually being played in Paleozoic of all things. So yeah, Laundry Dragon Maid is now lowest listed $14 for the super. You can still get the gold rare relatively cheap because people don't want to double sleeve these maximum golds that are thick and flaky, and it's all thanks to Yori Landsman playing a really teched out list. Then Joshua Schmidt reacted to the video over on Hakuna My Data, and that's where the price went absolutely nuts. Now again, the rest of the Dragon Maids are still, you can argue, too pricey, not pricey enough, wherever you want to land with them, but a lot of these could use some extra reprints actually at this point. Interesting card of the day. Now, how would you say this? Simul, is it simulation, simultaneous? Simul Archfiend's what I'm going to go with. The super rare is starting to skyrocket in price, and it is an interesting text, but I just figure there's better cards within the metagame, but maybe you don't get cross-out designated on this Floodgate. This turn, neither player can special summon monsters with the same card types, ritual, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or links they already control. So basically, if you have one synchro, you're not synchroing up, you're not going into other synchros, and it doesn't have to remain on the field. It's not a continuous, this is a one-turn thing. If you do not control two or more of the same card types, ritual, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link, all of your ritual, fusion, synchro, Xyz, and link monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. You can only activate one of these per turn. I feel like with this card, it's again just trying to get more access to D barrier in a sense and trying to shut them down to do only one thing. I like taking away maybe the battle phase with Threatening Roar a little bit more, but trying to stop them from playing completely instead of letting them continue and head towards, their turn and put something else on the board. I get why people would be going for this as well. People want as many ways to stop Tenpai as possible and not get OTK'd. So I do understand, and it's a budget option on top of that, and you can never discount budget options. It has a common out of the megatons that is still basically bulk at this point, so you don't have to rush out and get it, but if you want access to this card, get it sooner than later using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra. Support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, even if they're just a penny. We have Legacy of Destruction having a lot of changes happening. The first one being Nightmare Apprentice is now the top quarter century secret rare of the set for the most part after its buyout. We'll see how it actually lands because all of the sales stopped around the 130, 135. So where the actual sales will be after is interesting to talk about, but we're seeing that Nightmare Chimera's an actual thing, which is interesting to watch develop. So we have Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, skyrocketing. We have Guardian Chimera also going way back up in price. The Maze version, the easiest access, is around 25, 27 actually lowest about now, and it's been going up very steadily with sales in this range, 27 to 25. So yeah, the Chimera engine has proved itself time and time again to lend itself to different decks, and it's no different really here. And that would be probably why this is skyrocketing to anything but fire, as fire prices are also rising. We'll talk about it at the end. Diableeze quarter century secret rare continues to go up, now about $100 card at this point for the lowest listings, and it actually has a sale in the 90 range and a ton at the $85 range. So that's consistently been up. It did feel way too low on release, which I did point out. I figured it dropping was a bit odd, and here it goes back up, actually passing several other things on the way. And then we go to the lower side of the set. Shining Sarcophagus has been going up for its quarter century secret rare and down in quantities, and I did point out the Ragnarika cards were a bit low for what they were, and we see some of those going up or lower in quantities. The Yugi cards add a huge collectible side to the set that I feel like has been super underestimated when people talk about it. So many people have been talking trash on the set, saying it's so mid, it's so bad, it's so trash, and here it is, proving itself. You know, judging a set within a week and not being able to highlight those good points when talking down about it. So the box itself is actually doing relatively well for a modern box, and the collectible side of it is doing well, as a lot of it goes up in price as well, even on the lower end, the low end secret rares, that is. Tenpai Dragon's down, but let's go ahead and talk about Silent Magician Zero heading towards $8 here for the secret rare, and we also have Future Silence has continued to go down in quantities and slowly up here, and the Ragnarika cards have been going up just a little bit as well. So a lot of hidden value in the set versus how people initially judged it, and like I said, I didn't want to speak too much with player brain, but a lot of it felt insanely underestimated versus how an actual market would dictate it. This is your boring reminder. Rarity Collection 2 is coming out, so you might want to look back at Rarity Collection 1. Now, there's obviously buyouts that are happening based on the current metagame, like we have Called by the Grave Quarter Century Secret Rare has been going up pretty consistently and waving back up here quickly, 40-45 on the front page. But I've been noticing interesting graphs here where it's kind of dipping down on certain cards and leveling out, and again, thanks to the metagame, but then other cards where they kind of end up dipping back up, and that's interesting to me too. Like, here's Tour Guide, for example, down, 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 and people are starting to grab it. So you might want to be looking at the set, because having the second one, even if you would figure it would be competition by having a ton more quarter century secret rares, people are actually going to reach back to complete their collections and go for things. And this is by far going to be harder to obtain and probably going to go up in price for the sealed too, as people end up getting those boxes to display along the second one. Okay, it's time to finish the line, that sort of thing. And this box has done nothing but go up in price for the most part. Speaking of up for something interesting, the Pop Collection box, the sealed box, is up, and for pretty obvious reasons. Look at the next 5 after the quarter century Pot of Greed. You have Duality, Prosperity, Pot of Greed again, Avarice, and Desires, and then, yeah, you have Extravagance, which shouldn't be sneezed at, but these are all now around $30 cards. They're not getting huge sales rates or anything, and Pot of Greed itself is also up, but with poor sales rate, and the collection doesn't have the greatest sales rates, but everything is up for this very consistent, and even multiple sales above $300 for the sealed set now, which again makes sense. This about covers that price, and then you get the figures inside and other cards as well. Memento Darkblade is way up in price. I've heard people arguing this shouldn't be the card up, it should be this, but it's a really good card in the deck, and Darkblade is forever. Waifus are temporary, although the waifu tax is permanent. This card, though, jokes aside, $75 lowest, with sales actually at the $75 range for the collector rare itself. If you're going for the ultras, of course, they're way cheaper, but it's actually outpacing right now the Ange Witch, which a lot of people thought would be the top of this archetype overall, especially with the waifu tax, and here we see her ultras around 14. And if you just want Darkblade, let's actually look that up. Memento and in Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's look up Darkblade real quick. Very easy access because it's a super rare. For some reason, in my head, it was canon that it was ultra also. Just super easy to get and grab. Fabled is back up. This is for, what's that archetype? It's the archetype that has the Link 1 where you're able to just spam off with Light Fiends. Let me know in the comment section down below. I had it. It's tip of the tongue kind of boomer braining out. But yeah, be aware that Fabled Lurie here is actually up for even the common out of Hidden Arsenal, Chapter 1, but it's super rare from Hidden Arsenal is passing the $10 mark and going up and out in quantities, and the DT is too. I'm not sure if this is from OCG results or from people seeing combos, but be aware, Fabled stuff is starting to stonk once again, and we see other ones lower in quantities up in price too. Kozmo is doing it as well. I remember there being a deck where people were like, yes, Kozmo time. Well, Strawman's almost completely bought out for the ultra rare, and then you're looking at a gold rare version for it. So yeah, people that want to hollow out their deck, they're definitely going with this. Are these the actually only 2 versions of Strawman here in the year 2024? I think they are. That's kind of wild. Dark Destroyer's up as well, and I could see this deck being mixed with other things. Farm Girl's been going up. I remember discussions on that too. So be aware, Kozmo here getting buyouts. I don't necessarily think it's going to do it big, but I could see something with like being able to go down in Strawman and use other things like maybe Sprite. I don't know. It's player brain versus not seeing it on paper at this point. Let me know if you think Cosmo's got it on the lock and actually worth the price bumps versus the low amount of reprints. Maybe even as a rogue option, it was bound to go up. Promethean Princess is going up in price very steadily and is back to a $25 card. I told y'all as people prepared for the WCQ, Fire would likely have some things that get gone on, and the ban list definitely supported that, and Bonfire has also been slow crawling back. It started up higher after the list, and here it is chilling and then going back up. Now there's some copies that are very easy access for a good cheap price before it goes back up towards $60 quickly on the front page, but Promethean Princess is played in so many different variants of the deck. This one kinda seemed obvious, but at the same time, with Fire hit so little and competition on the horizon and people wanting to play anything but Fire, it was a question of how long would it take and would it trail off as we headed towards the WCQ. But in the immediate, it went up, and that was a pretty easy call. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversations. And again, even though I pat myself on the shoulder, I'm wrong a lot of the time too. That's why I'm not a financial advisor channel. I don't know the future of card prices, what Konami will exactly do with a ban list, but we can guess a lot of things, like with Rarity Collection 1, how we've seen other sets come out and bolster the original set. We can look at trends and kind of see what will happen, but trends also get broken too.